You're using language to unpack detail.
To narrow down on the detail. Without the meta model, we get stuck in this swamp of people's feelings and ideas that are not clarified. And that's when we run into communication difficulties with other people.
Absolutely.
One of the most interesting aspects of NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, is something known as the meta model.
Well, what is the meta model?
Glad you asked, Chris. The meta model uses language to clarify language.
How specifically does it do that?
The way he just did it. So without the meta model, we get stuck in this swamp of people's feelings and ideas that are not clarified. And that's when we run into communication difficulties with other people.
Absolutely. So when you're using the meta model, generally you're using language to unpack detail that would not be there if you didn't use the meta model.
Right. So if I say something like, he drives me crazy.
You say, well, what does he do specifically that drives you crazy?
Yeah, or
when does he drive you?
Or who drives you crazy?
Yeah.
By asking these specific questions, it stops us from mind reading and thinking we understand people. That's why it's very, very important to clarify, because when you use the meta model, it helps the other person nail down their own experience as well.
And that's why it's used therapeutically, right? Because when someone says, well, I just feel horrible all the time,
you say, all the time? There's never a single moment that you don't feel horrible?
This is this overarching belief they have, but you unpack it with them and they realize, well, no, not all the time. I mean, when I'm out with my buddies, I feel good. Or when I'm playing volleyball, I feel great.
Right.
But then when I get home and I sit alone, and then you realize, oh, it's because the person maybe doesn't have someone in their life.
Right. And this comes out by challenging that universal quantifier of all the time. And we have to challenge generalizations.
Yes.
All Frenchmen are excellent chefs. What, every single Frenchman is an excellent chef? I don't think so. By challenging with meta model questions, we get to what is known as the deep structure, the heart of the language down below the surface in their unconscious mind.
You raised a really good point too, that when people use NLP, a lot of the times they get into this point where they think, oh, I can read minds now because I can calibrate. Well, calibration is the opposite of mind reading. You're just looking for difference from baseline. We've talked about that in separate videos. However, with language, you also have to ask clarifying questions so that you're not mind reading.
Right. And it happens with, he's right, it happens with a lot of NLP people. They think that now that they've studied NLP, they can mind read. It gives them a license to. And in reality, it's the opposite. I remember a case where I had my arms folded and the guy said, it shows that you're close to the conversation. Well, if he said to me, why are you sitting with your arms folded? What's the reason for that? I would have said, well, to stretch out the trapezium muscle because my neck's sore. But he read my mind, oh, he's close to the conversation. The meta model protects you from that kind of generalization.
So the meta model is words that clarify meaning and information gathering. It's basically, so if somebody said, well, why is your neck sore? And you can say, well, I was doing jujitsu and I overstretched it or something. Well, how specifically did you do that? Who were you with? I mean, not that that's necessarily important, but you're using language to unpack detail.
To narrow down on the detail. If you want to learn more about this, we think the best book on it is The Structure of Magic. It may not have this cover anymore.
I bought that so long ago.
This is from 1975. Richard Mandel and John Grinder, one of my teachers. It's a phenomenal book.
The Structure of Magic, Volume 1. So that's a great way to get started with the meta model.
Learn the meta model. It will help you clarify everything.
All right, so hope you enjoyed this video and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Remember to subscribe to our channel and click that bell. Click that bell icon so that you're always notified when we publish new videos. The meta model. Use it because it's awesome.